Greetings, Caddo area scouts and scouters. This is Greg Perry. I am Cub Master for Pack 8 and Assistant Scout Master for Troop 8, and I am also part of the Camp Preston Hunt Camp Master Corps. And this afternoon, I would like to show you a few things about knots and how to whip a rope, and a few knots that you'll need to know to tie as a scout. First of all, as a disclaimer, do not use these knots on your brothers, your sisters, your mother or your father or your son or your daughter. So please do not tie other people up with these knots, but these are very handy things to know when you're camping, and if you need to tie down something real quick, these are good knots to know. So the first thing I want to talk to you about is whipping a rope. If you use this twine type rope, it's got several braids on it, and if you just cut the end of it, it will end up getting frayed. So what you need to do is called whipping the end of a rope. And you actually take a little piece of string, and I like to use dental floss. It works great. You just get a little piece of floss, and you want about 6 inches or so, and make you a little piece like that. And you want to take your dental floss and just kind of fold it over on one end where you have a loop. And then you take your piece of rope and you lay the loop in toward the cut end of the rope and lay them side by side. And as you come down here, take your long end of your, make sure you leave a little tag on the loop end out. Take the long end of your dental floss and start wrapping. And you want to wrap back toward the cut end of the rope, and around just as tight as you can get it and as close together as you can get them, and come around and keep coming. And right before you get to the end, you want to take your loose end that you're winding, and this end makes a little loop. Put that through the loop, like that. And then you want to take that end and your loose end down here, and you want to pull both of them tight. And that'll pull it back under the part that you've wound around. Pull them both very tight, and it just tightens the whole thing up. And then you have an end on here that'll keep this end of the rope from fraying. And then if you've got some loose ends like that, you just take a pair of scissors and snip those off. And you have your twine type rope whipped. Now, another quick way that you can do this, when I bought this, it already had this on it. You can just take a piece of electrical tape and twist around the end of it. Works very well that way as well. Now, if you're using a nylon type rope, like a paracord or something like that, be sure, and boys and girls, get permission from your parents to use a lighter. But all you need to do is take a lighter and burn the end of the rope, and you may get a little flame. That's okay. Blow it out and let that cool, and that'll fuse that end of the rope together. And you can use it on the small paracord like this, or if you've got a big piece of nylon rope, you can also do the same thing. Again, make sure you get your parents' permission to do this, guys, because you are playing with fire, and it will make a mess, and it will smell funny. So, and if you get a little fire, a little flame, that's okay. It's just all that melting together. Then you blow it out and let that cool, and that fuses that end of the rope together. And then your rope won't fray, and you'll have a good piece of rope that you can tie knots with. I'm going to use this larger piece of rope because it's a little easier to see on the knots we're going to work on today. The first one that we're going to do is a square knot. And it is the friendship knot, it is the binding knot, and it's usually the first knot you learn in Scouts. So, you take your two pieces of rope, your two ends of your rope, and you want to go right over left and tuck it under. And then you want to go left over right and tuck that under. Just like that. And then you pull all four ends, and it makes a square knot. And that's a binding knot, that's a friendship knot. The easiest way to tell if you've done this correctly is to push on all four ends. If the loops come apart like that, you've tied a square knot correctly. Okay? So that's your friendship knot. Let's go over that one more time, okay? You take your right over your left and tuck it under. Then you take your left over your right and tuck that under. And pull all four tight, and there's your square knot, okay? Now, the other knots I want to work on are actually called hitches. And you use these if you need to tie something up like your tent poles or your tent stakes, or you're trying to get your tent put up. These are easy hitches to use. The first one is 2 half hitches. And what you want to do, this is going to be your pole here. And you take your rope and you put it around your pole. And you come around this way. And you go over and through. And then over behind it. Run back behind the knot. And come through this loop here. And you pull those tight. And you will get a knot in your rope. And what you can do with this, you can use this like if you're trying to tie up a boat. When you pull on this knot, it will slip, and you can tighten up tie your boat up. And you've got it pulled tight like that, okay? And the only drawback to this knot is if you get slack in this rope, this can come loose. It'll work itself loose. And it may come loose and your boat would float away. So, but this is a good quick knot if you just need to cinch something down right quick. Let's do that one more time. Go around the pole, over the top, through the hole, come down, and then go back around, come back down the line, and then go back through the loop, the hole that you made. You go back through that hole right there. And then you pull it all tight and cinch it up, and there's your 2 half hitches. Okay? Now, one more that's very similar to this is called the taut line hitch. And this is what you want to use on your tent rope to cinch it down. And it'll actually lock itself onto the rope. So, what we're going to do is we're going to do similar to the half hitches. We're going to come over, around, and through the hole, okay? We're going to go through that hole, and then we're going to come around the same side again and go back through that hole. And then we have 2 loops that way. But then we're going to come behind this rope here, and we're going to come around this end and back through here, back through this loop, and pull that tight. All right, and that makes a taut line hitch. Now the advantage to this hitch is where the half hitches will slip. Let me get my post tightened down just a little bit here. Give me just a second here. There we go. Now, where the half hitches will slip, you can adjust this one. If you need some more rope, you can pull it out and adjust this one. This one won't slip. It locks itself in, okay? Let's go over that one more quick time. All right, you go around the post. My post is falling down. Bear with me a second. There we go. You go around the post. You go through this hole one time, then 2 times, and then you come back on the back side on the other side of this part of the rope, and you go through one more time, one more loop. And you get those pulled tight, tightened up like that. And that is your taut line hitch. And again, you can slide it out, slide it loose, and you can pull it. And it will lock onto itself and not slip. Okay? So those are 3 quick knots that you can use. If you have a cell phone, there's always knot apps and knot guides that you can use. Be sure and use those to practice with. So just get you a piece of rope, whip it up or burn the ends of it where it won't come loose, and practice your knots while you're inside today. Thank you very much. And remember, a scout is clean. Wash your hands. A scout is obedient. So obey the laws regarding the virus of staying 6 feet apart and washing your hands and staying inside. Thank you very much, and we'll see you guys soon.